Imagine a world without fire, no light, no cooked food, no warmth, no civilization. When the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, darkness belonged to the predators. Early humans didn't rule the earth. They hid from it. Every night, lions hunted, hyenas laughed in the darkness, and every strange sound could mean death. But then, everything changed. Not because humans became stronger, but because one small flame gave them a power no other creature possessed. That single discovery would eventually build cities, create civilizations, and transform fragile survivors into the rulers of the planet. This is the incredible story of how humans discovered fire. Millions of years ago, the world was a terrifying place. Humans were not kings of nature. They were among its weakest creatures. When the sun disappeared, darkness took control. Every night became a battle for survival. Lions, hyenas, leopards, and packs of wolves hunted silently through the shadows. Without light, early humans could barely see what was coming. They slept inside caves, not because they were comfortable, but because caves were often the only places that offered a small chance of surviving until sunrise. Food was another constant struggle. Every meal had to be eaten raw. Raw meat was tough, difficult to digest, and often filled with dangerous bacteria and parasites. Even finding enough food for a single day was never guaranteed. Winter made everything worse. There were no warm houses, no blankets, no fireplaces, only freezing nights, and the desperate hope of living long enough to see another morning. At that time, humans didn't control nature. Nature controlled humans. But somewhere in the distance, a force existed that frightened every living creature, yet would soon become humanity's greatest weapon: fire. Long before humans knew how to create fire, nature had already discovered it. A bolt of lightning struck a dry forest. Within seconds, the trees exploded into flames. Animals ran for their lives. Birds filled the sky. Everything alive fled from the burning forest. Everything, except one small group of humans. They didn't understand what they were seeing. The flames were terrifying, but they were also strangely beautiful. For the first time, they felt warmth without the sun. The fire scared away predators. The darkness retreated. Some of the bravest among them slowly moved closer, not to fight it, but to understand it. When the forest fire finally died, a few burning branches remained. Instead of running away, they carefully picked them up. They carried those glowing pieces of wood back to their cave, protecting the flames from rain and wind. For days, someone had to stay awake, watching the fire, feeding it, keeping it alive, because if it went out, they had no idea how to make another one. Without realizing it, those early humans had taken the first step toward changing the future of our entire species. The fire wasn't theirs yet, but they had learned something even more important. It could be controlled. For countless generations, humans depended entirely on nature. If lightning didn't strike, there was no fire. If the flame died, everything returned to darkness. Keeping fire alive became one of the most important jobs in every group. Someone always had to protect it, day and night, rain or wind. A single mistake could leave everyone freezing again. But humans were changing. They were becoming curious. Instead of asking, "How do we keep fire alive?" they began asking, "How do we create it ourselves?" After years of trial and error, they discovered something extraordinary. When two dry pieces of wood were rubbed together fast enough, heat began to build. Tiny wisps of smoke appeared. Then, a single glowing ember, with dry grass and gentle breaths. That tiny ember burst into flame. Later, people discovered another method. By striking hard stones such as flint against certain rocks, bright sparks flew into the air. If those sparks landed on dry tinder, fire was born. For the first time in history, humans no longer had to wait for lightning. They could create fire whenever they needed it. That moment changed everything, because from that day forward, fire was no longer a gift from nature. It had become humanity's greatest tool. The moment humans learned to control fire, everything began to change. For the first time, food could be cooked. Raw meat became softer, safer, and far easier to digest. Scientists believe this simple change gave early humans far more energy from the same food. Over thousands of years, that extra energy helped support the growth of a larger and more complex brain. Fire also changed the night. What had once belonged to predators now belonged to humans. Lions and wolves stayed away from the flames. Families gathered around the fire instead of hiding in fear. For the first time, people could sit together after sunset. They shared food, told stories, taught their children, and slowly, language and culture grew stronger. Fire allowed humans to survive freezing winters, travel into colder lands, and settle in places that had once been impossible to live. Soon, fire was doing more than keeping people warm. It hardened wooden spears. It baked clay into pottery. Thousands of years later, it melted metal, powered blacksmiths, built cities, and eventually fueled engines that carried humanity across oceans, into the sky, and even into space. Every great civilization, every invention, every modern technology can trace its story back to one small flame. Fire didn't just help humans survive, it helped them build the world. Thousands of years passed. Small campfires became great furnaces. Clay became pottery. Stone became metal. Metal became tools. And tools became civilizations. With fire, humans forged swords that changed kingdoms, built ships that crossed oceans, cooked bricks that raised cities, and created industries that transformed the entire planet. The Bronze Age, the Iron Age, the Industrial Revolution. Every major step in human history had one thing in common: fire. Even today, every airplane, every factory, every power station, and every rocket launched into space exists because humans learned to master heat and fire. The discovery that once kept predators away eventually allowed humanity to reshape the Earth itself. What began as a single glowing ember became the foundation of the modern world. Take a moment and look around you. The lights above your head, the food on your table, the cities we live in, even the technology in your hands. All of it can be traced back to one small flame. Thousands of years ago, a frightened group of humans stood before a burning tree, not knowing they were witnessing the greatest turning point in history. Fire didn't simply keep them warm. It gave them courage. It gave them knowledge. And eventually, it gave them civilization. Without fire, there would be no kingdoms, no science, no industry, no modern world. The story of fire isn't just the story of an invention. It's the story of how humanity became human. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, subscribe to Midnight History, where every forgotten discovery, every lost civilization, and every untold story still has something to teach us.